Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Come on! What text are we on? Where's
10?
text 10? Okay. You got to put the chat up on your thing. That way we can see their feedback, please. The fifth incarnation, named Lord Kapila, is foremost among the perfected beings. He gave an exposition on the creative elements and metaphysics to Asuri Brahmana. For in course of time, this knowledge has become lost.
So what's that called?
Samkhya Yoga.
Boom! I put him on the hot seat.
I passed the hot seat. I passed Kaustubha's hot seat. That's a hot seat. You want to talk about Samkhya Yoga a little bit?
Maybe a little bit. That there's this type of philosophy or way of analysis that's given in the Bhagavatam and given in other texts as well, whereby the idea is you want to separate the self from the material, the ingredients of the material world. And so they number. Samkhya actually means to count. And so you break it down.
I never knew that. It means to count.
It means to count. So you count the different elements. There's the 5 senses, 5 working senses, the 5 senses of knowledge acquiring senses, the 5 sense objects. That's 15 right there. Then you add the Mahabhutas, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, intelligence, and then mind, intelligence, ego on top of them. Now you got, that's another 8. So, and then you add up to 24, I believe. And then you analyze it and you say, I'm none of those. What am I? Aham Brahmasmi, I'm spirit. And through this, I mean, this is a very, superficial presentation of it.
It's okay. We don't want to do a whole Samkhya
Yoga
course
I really
right
wouldn't
now,
be
anyway.
able to. But
hey, Mary, turn off my mic, I think. You did. Okay.
But
behind the game.
But it's a practice of Jnana Yoga, you could say.
You start to inspect what you are and what you're not.
Yeah.
Sort of interesting, isn't it?
I mean, in a simple way, we can say, even like Srila Prabhupada used to say, like with children, point to your arm, they point to the arm, point to your foot, they point to the foot, point to yourself.
Sure.
And then it makes you think, well,
what is the self?
Yeah. What is the self? Am I this body?
If I lose my arm, am I still myself?
Yeah.
If I lose both my arms, what is it that I have to lose? And then they start to analyze, where are we getting pleasure from? This is an interesting one too. Where do you get pleasure from? Forget it. I'm going to go into this whole thing right now. Let's just keep reading.
Okay. And I don't know if you want to read through every one of these incarnations or if you want to kind of pick some highlights. Rishabha is
King Rishabha. The 8th incarnation is King Rishabha. Now, of course, there's unlimited incarnations, but they're highlighting these ones. And these aren't even the Das avatar, the 10 avatars. These are just other ones that are floating around the universe.
Yeah.
The 8th incarnation was King Rishabha, son of King Nabi, and his wife, Meru Devi. In this incarnation, the Lord showed the path of perfection, which is followed by those who have fully controlled their senses and who are honored by all orders of life.
So he showed a path of extreme renunciation.
O Brahmanas, in the 9th incarnation, the Lord prayed for by sages, accepted the body of King Prithu, who cultivated the land to yield various produces. For that reason, the earth was beautiful and attractive.
We'll read about that in the 4th canto.
Yep.
Some great stuff there.
When there was a complete inundation after the period of Chakshushmanu, and the whole world was deep within water, the Lord accepted the form of a fish and protected Vaivashvatu Manu, keeping him up on a boat. Isn't that interesting how they the biblical flood?
A lot of parallels.
A lot of parallels. If not copyright infringement, one of you guys is copying somebody, unless it just happened, and then everyone's just documenting it from their own vantage point. Why not?
Okay.
The 11th incarnation Lord took the form of a tortoise, who shall serve as a pivot for the Mandarchal hill, which was being used as a churning rod by the theists and the atheists of the universe.
We'll read about that in the 8th canto.
I think it's a good point right there to spin to riff on for a while.
All right.
Theists and atheists, they're called the Sanskrit word is the Surahs and the Asuras. Ones who accept that the world has order to it, that there's rules to evolve, and there's rules and things that we continue to devolve. Then there are these people who just believe, you know what, everything's just random. We do whatever we want. We do what feels good. And we meet people like this on the street. You know, if it feels good, do it. Or what's another classic?
You only live once.
You only live once. Just have some fun. You know what I mean? And in the body, of course, when it comes down to theories like that, it's sort of like me first, and the gimme-gimmes, we call it.
Mm-hmm.
Me first and the gimme-gimmes. Right now, in the same way, our body, which means people are going to be in pain when I say me first. Because if I say me first and Gwen says me first, well, we're going to fight over something that we both want. Now, the same thing is happening within our own body. There are bacteria that are good, bacteria that are bad. When the bacteria are good, here I get all scientific now. There's good bacteria and they're flourishing, I'm healthy. When there's bad bacteria flourishing, I'm getting sick.
All right.
Cosmos is the same way. I mean, actually, you could take it to the nation. You know, there's, people causing trouble. You can take it to the playground. There's the bullies, you're picking on kids, and there's people trying to do what's right. Then you could take it to the nation. You could take it to the globe, but you could take it to the cosmos. See where I go with this to the bad thing? There are Surahs and Asuras in the cosmos.
Okay.
All right. And this and so they speak of them a lot. And it's hard to understand that the cosmos are also governed by these beings. By the way, when I speak like this, I don't know any of this stuff.
No, you're doing great.
I'm saying I don't know it. I don't know it to be true. I don't know the cosmos are governed, but they could be. I think it's safe to say could be. I think that's how we have to read these books. If you say, no, there's people governing the stars and the moon and we don't know that.
So you don't have faith in this?
It's not that I don't have faith. If I had faith, I would be doing the Bhagavatam class today.
All right.
But we have reasonable faith.
Oh.
We have reasonable faith. We don't blind faith. There's certain things that we sort of like extend our faith to. But faith comes in small increments. And so when they speak of these theists and atheists of the universe, what are they talking about? Surahs and Asuras of the universe? All I know is there are good and evil in this world. There's good and evil in my body. There's good and evil on the playground. There's good and evil right? So the next question is, could there be good and evil in the universe? Could be. Could be. I just thought I'd bring up that little thing.
There's a statement, and I don't know exactly where it's from, but I'm pretty sure it's a Shastric reference. I wish I had it.
I like when this is
maybe someone could come up. But that in the Satya Yuga, in the earliest of ages.
I like this one. I like this one. Right? I like this one. Go.
That the Suras, the demons, and the Suras, the devas,
the good and the bad,
that they existed on different planets.
Different planets, like,
other planets, other higher planets,
aliens, ancient aliens, perhaps, Kaustubha.
You always want to take it into the.
I'm just saying, when we're talking about other planets, people living on other planets, that's what we call an alien.
Okay.
It's not like a far-reaching thing. They talk about life on other planets. That's an alien.
Okay.
It's not like, this isn't conspiracy theory. We're reading about it.
Okay. So then in the next Yuga, the Treta Yuga, they existed on the same planet.
6 on the same planet. You have Ravana and you have Ram.
They were on the same planet. And then in the next Yuga, the Dwapara Yuga, they're in the same family.
Same family. Kamsa and Krishna. Duryodhana and the Pandavas.
Good examples. And then
I use this one a lot too.
In the Kali Yuga, they're in the same person.
In the same person. Good and evil resides in you. You're not out to kill the evil. You're the evil. We have it. Kill yourself. Don't kill yourself. Don't kill yourself. I take it back. Right? We've got a dark side, a shadow side, perhaps, that we have to take notice of. And we have to feed our healthy side. You know what's interesting? The more you feed your healthy side, the more you feed your spiritual side, the stronger it gets,
Oh, well, that reminds me of another analogy.
The habits get stronger, right? The more I feed my dark side, it becomes a little darker. It becomes a little addictive. I become a little kooky. I've been there. Don't want to go back there. What does it remind you of, Prabhu?
Well, you were talking about, what did you just say? That there's,
Feed the.
what you're feeding.
What are you feeding?
But it said, in other words, if we were to say that we have good and evil within ourselves, and if we were to use the metaphor to say it's two dogs, a good dog and a bad dog.
Is this like a Native American?
I've heard that it's Native American. And so then the question is, well, which one's going to win? Right? We may worry about it, in ourselves, which one's going to win.
Yeah, sometimes we even fear our bad dog.
We fear our dark side. So then which one will win? The one that you feed.
The one that you feed. The one you feed. You are like
the Alpo.
No. I was trying to think of like a flying bear or whatever. A Native American. Someone give Native American wisdom on me. Thank you for that.
I've actually heard it from Raghunath.
I heard it from Raghunath Swami too.
Yeah. But it's so. In other words, that idea that, okay, they're on different planets, and then they're on the same planet, and then they're in the same family, and then they're in the same person, and that should be something odd or unusual, that a person should struggle with good and bad within themselves in such a way that we could understand that we're dented cans, we're in that position. But then, okay, well then how do we deal with it? How do you address it?
Andrea Kay says it's two wolves in the Native American story. Okay, dogs, wolves. Come on, Andrea.
But then we have to start to think, how do I feed the good one? How do I feed the bad one? And how much time do I spend feeding each one?
It depends what food they like.
Yeah. What is your good dog like?
Here's the interesting thing about the whole thing about good. Once you get into these ideas of good and evil, this is a common thing. A little trick of Maya is that we're the good and out there is the evil. That's why I love this thing you brought up, because it's teaching us that the evil is inside it, and don't get too arrogant about how great you are. And that's why, my flower, I forgot I had that in my ear. Someone came up. Anyway, okay. But this is, where was I? Good and evil dog. In the same person. Man, I had something good to say.
Parmananda has it. Do you have it, Parmananda? Where is it?
We pretend a good thing and we're the arrogant. I can't remember. There's a whole nother.
I've been like that all day and yesterday too.
Yeah.
But in any case, you brought this up because this particular pastime, which we'll read about in the 8th canto of the Bhagavatam, was mentioned here, where the Surahs and the Asuras churn the ocean of milk. And it's one of the most fascinating pastimes, full of lessons about life.
Yeah, and matter of fact, if you ever go to Bangkok, there's a massive statue of it. You know what I'm talking about? In the airport, the Asuras and the Surahs churning the ocean of milk. And this avatar of Kurma, like Kurmasana, Kurma avatar is the
tortoise
or
turtle.
And probably most people have never churned butter, but the idea is when you churn it, you churn one type of food and two foods come out of it. You have butter and butter. Actually, first it becomes whipped cream, and then it magically just goes bloop, and it turns to buttermilk and butter. And so the idea they're churning the ocean of milk, and things are just flying out of this ocean of milk. Lakshmi came from the ocean of milk. Airavata, Indra's elephant, came from the elephant.
First came the poison.
The poison came out. That's why Lord Shiva drank the poison. That's why he's called Nilakant, right? Blue neck.
Then what else came out?
Whatever. Uchai Shrava. The horse.
What else?
This is good. What else we got coming out of ocean of milk? Dhanvantari, the Ayurvedic, the science of Ayurveda.
What else?
I like to tell people who know nothing about India and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, we follow an ancient system. It appeared out of the ocean of milk. They're like, excuse me? Who invented this stuff? An avatar actually told it to us. He came out of the ocean of milk.
But trust me.
Yeah, but trust me.
It's going to work.
Yeah. Oh, man. All right. Yeah, they drop the nectar from from the kumbha, from the pot,
Mm-hmm.
from the nectar from the pot. So on the third, every 12 years, it's been going on forever. It's quite fascinating. The biggest religious festival in the world.
Biggest festival in the world, period.
Bigger than Lollapalooza.
Way bigger.
Anyway, yes. Anyway, churning the ocean milk. Now, this leg's dead. All right, I'm going to go on with this.
Do so.
Oh, and that's the incarnation where the Lord appeared as a dwarf. Great story, too. And he is that the one?
No.
No, it's not. Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. In the 15th avatar, Lord assumed the form of a dwarf. This is the next one. And visited the arena of sacrifice arranged by Maharaj Bali. Although at the heart, he was willing to regain the kingdom of 3 planetary systems, he simply asked for a donation of 3 steps of land. What a good story.
We'll be reading about that later as well.
I feel like just telling it.
You know, I was thinking about just sharing one verse from it. My favorite verse from that past.
You got it in your head?
Well, more or less. Paraphrase. Anyway.
Please share.
Maybe it's a favorite of yours too. That when what can't I think of his name?
Vamana?
Vamanadev. When Vamanadev when Bali said, ask me for whatever you want.
All right, the backstory. Let's give it some backstory because people have no idea. The backstory is the demons, they took everything. They took all 3 upper planetary systems, middle planetary systems, lower planetary systems.
They were ruling.
And Bali, who is the head of those demons, he's sitting on Indra's throne. So they all appeal to Lord Vishnu. Hey, you got to help us. They took everything. The demons are controlling the universe, right? The bad bacteria are taking over. And so Vishnu appeared in this very unassuming form, a little dwarf Brahmin.
A little dwarf Brahmin.
Little dwarf Brahmin.
Beautiful little dwarf. Brahmachari.
Adorable, beautiful Brahmachari dwarf.
Yeah, monk. Like he was a little monk.
Can't make this up. And he went to beg. And Bali, even though he's sort of a evil king.
He wasn't evil.
He wasn't evil.
But he was in the family of the evil.
Yeah, there you go.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was cultured. So whenever a monk comes to the house to beg, they say, yeah, what would you like? I'll give you whatever you want. He says, I want 3 steps of land. Well, first of all, he's got little steps.
It sounds like so little.
That's all you want? I give you whatever you want. You're so sweet, but you're young and you're naive. Seriously, I'll give you whatever you want.
Yeah. And then he says,
actually, if I can't be happy with 3 steps of land, what will make me happy? You got the actual verse here?
It was more like this.
Okay, go.
He says, all that there is within the 3 planetary systems, which means the whole universe, all that there is within the universe to satisfy the senses cannot satisfy the senses of one whose senses are not under control.
Say that again. Say that again. You said.
All that there is within the universe to satisfy the senses is not enough to satisfy one whose senses are uncontrolled.
There's never enough.
There's never enough. If I can't be satisfied with
it,
yeah.
What is it?
One is too many and 1,000 is never enough.
1 is too many and 1,000 is never enough.
All right. I'll drink to that. I'll drink another.
Insatiable, isn't it? The senses are insatiable.
They are.
And that's why it teaches, and you really get, that's where the knot, this hridaya granta, the knot
Tighter.
of the heart gets tighter and tighter.
Let me give it
ties
more.
the jiva to the body.
Mm.
And so all yoga systems, doesn't matter what, they're always saying you need sense control. You got to pull it back. And once you develop a little detachment, you feel a little free. You feel a little connected. And you realize, actually, my pleasure is not coming from out there. All that is doing is enticing me more and more. And to try to quench that fire of desire,
Tire.
to try to quench that fire of desire, it's like pouring ghee on the fire. It just makes the fire go higher. This is ridiculous. Until you're tired.
Got that in under the wire?
That wasn't planned. Okay. So anyway, that story is a great story. And then he stole the whole universe with his 3 little steps. He expanded his first step to puncture outside the material universe. And he punctured his little toe. And you know what came out of that? Ganga Mayaki. Jai. So Ganga poured, because Ganga's from a spiritual realm. It's not from here. Ganga started dripping down. And dripping, flowing. It was such a big flow that Lord Shiva had to stop it. It was going to wreck the planets. So that's why it landed on Shiva's head. That's why Shiva is called Gangadhar. He has Shiva on his head.
Holds the Ganga.
Yeah. And so that's why the bathing in the Ganga is so special, because it is flowing. Ganga Devi is Vishnu Pada.
Yeah.
Coming from the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. It's not ordinary.
Okay.
Anyway, it's a great story.
So we'll get to that.
We're going to get to it. Ganga is so special. She flows she lands on all the different planetary systems and goes into and maintains her unique body as it leaves the planet. She actually mystically leaves the planet through the Sushumna of the universe. What? That's what happens. You have a Sushumna, right? What is one of the nadis, right? The mystical channel.
That channel of
invisible
energy.
Channel of energy that you can't find with a telescope or a microscope. The universe has one too. What? We're connected. Uh-oh. Can you guys hear us?
Give us a thumbs up.
Give us a thumbs up if we're still online.
We're online.
We're online. Raghu's disconnected. Uh-oh. Here we go. Nope. Kelly Becker is the host now. How can that be?
Because that went off, but at least we're still on.
Okay. We're still going.
Thanks for carrying that, Kelly.
Thanks for Kelly. She held it together for us. Anyway, that's a great pastime.
It's a great. You sound like you have a lot of.
I've got a lot of faith in Mother Ganga.
I was going to say a lot of affection in your heart. There's some special feeling you have for Ganga.
I do. And our shelter record, our most popular shelter record had Ganga Devi on the cover. And I feel like that because of that, Ganga has brought me to the Ganga repeatedly.
She has blessed you.
Yeah. Well, not only that, check this out. It's just Ganga is an interesting thing. Ganga is for people go to it not just for spirituality. They go for it because Ganga fulfills material desires. People go for bhakti, mukti, and bhakti.
What do you go for?
I go for bhakti.
Good.
She comes. Every other temple you have to go to, you sit there, Ganga comes to you. And then Ganga, what does Ganga want? You just offer Ganga some love. Every temple throughout India, they're always offering Ganga water to the deity. Could be whatever deity you're worshiping, they're offering Ganga water. But Ganga, and so then Ganga water, if you approach Mother Ganga, you bow down, you take some Ganga water and you offer. You see pictures of people holding up Ganga water like this. Why offer Ganga water to the Ganga? She's already got the Ganga. Because she just wants our love. And if you go to Ganga and approach her, or any great devotee and approach, please give me bhakti, she'll give you bhakti. But one time when I was a brahmachari, I was laying over in Frankfurt. And I had robes on of a brahmachari. An old German lady came to me. And she goes, so weird and random. She came over to me and she goes, do you worship the Ganga? And I looked at her sort of surprised and I said, yes, I do.
As a matter of fact.
Yeah, matter of fact, I do worship the Ganga. And she goes, you always have to worship. She was a German lady. She wasn't Indian. You always have to worship the Ganga. I go, why? I go, please share. And she said, well, I suffered my entire life from an incurable skin disease. Mm-hmm. No doctor in Europe could heal me. I took 3 baths of the Ganga, in the Ganga, and I was completely healed. And then she just walked away. Isn't that interesting when the universe sends a person like that to you?
Who was that person? Who was disguised?
Then she walked right into a wall. through a wall. She was an apparition. She levitated right out of one of the vents. No, I'm kidding. It was a real person. It's a real person. The Ganga is special.
No question.
Yeah. And truthfully, when we go on pilgrimage, we'll go on pilgrimage to the Ganga this year again. people lose it at the Ganga.
Mm.
People have really deep connection. They just sit there. And I remember one time I was leaving the Ganga, and I was like, you know what? Before I leave, I got to say goodbye to Mother Ganga. I woke up super early. I was like, everyone's just going to be packing their bags, leaving, or we're leaving really early in the morning. It's like 4 a.m. I go down there. All the students are already down there, like in deep prayer.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful, actually. Shall we continue?
Let's.
It's like I'm about 2 feet away from the mic. It's still going in the red.
You live in the red.
I'm living in the red, living in the red. In the 16th incarnation of Godhead, the Lord, as Bhrigupati, annihilated the administrative class of Kshatriyas 21 times, being angry with them because of their rebellion against the Brahmanas. Okay. This always confused me. But
21 times.
21 times he killed the warriors. You know what? Let's just skip this. I'm going to read up on this because for 30 plus years now, I've been hearing about Parshuram killing the Kshatriya class 21 times over. I have no idea what that even means.
They regroup.
They regroup and then you kill them again?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you kill the ones that are left, and then they get a new team together, and you fight them. I assume.
They got a new. Okay. 21 generations. I'm going to read up on it anyway.
Let's do that.
You know where the best reading is? I kid you not. I should even. The comic books. Those Amar Chitrikatha comic books. You find my kids. Where's Rocco and Sachi? They know all the little details. They know every little detail of the Mahabharata and Ramayana. Why? Because they give so much details in those comic books.
This is where you've gained your wisdom.
Yes, it is.
This is where it comes from.
I would never expect it to come in the form of a comic book, but in fact, it did. Amar Chitrikatha.
Why don't you get Rocco and Sachi on that one? Bhrigupati, Parshuram.
Parshuram. Rocco, look that up. Last time Rocco was on the show, he corrected me after the show.
What did he say?
Something about, he said Ashwathama is dead.
Oh, right.
He corrected me, like, you questioned about Ashwathama being eternal. He goes, no, Ashwathama, he got a blessing to live like 3,000 years or something like that, and then he died.
How did that feel when you were corrected by your son? Like that?
He corrects me all the time. It's the comic books.
It's those comic books.
It's the comic books.
Huh.
They know it. They know it all. They grew up. I just grew up on TV. My brain is like a piece of cheese.
They're carrying you now.
Yeah, it's called Putra.
The son.
The son. Yeah, the offspring that will deliver you.
Yeah.
The offspring, like Dasara Putra is the name for Ram.
Mm-hmm.
But a Putra. Yes. Sons are. You ever heard that?
Yeah.
Mudra and Putra.
Yeah. Let's not go into that.
We won't go into that. We're gonna pass on that one for now. Oh, Krishna. Thereafter, the 17th incarnation of Godhead, Srila Vyasadeva, appeared in the womb of Satyavati. So, Vyasadeva, the author of this book, is telling about his own story. He appeared in the womb of Satyavati, very interesting lady, through Parashara. Now, astrologers, Parashara is the father of Jyotish, Vedic astrology.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Father of Jyotish.
He's the father of Vedic astrology.
Well, then we may as well go ahead and say what today is.
Makara Sankranti.
Makara Sankranti, which is important for many different reasons.
It's the day to fly kites in India. Everyone's got a kite up there. Tell us the spiritual significance, Prabhu.
I don't want to pose as I know all that much, but there's one thing that I know. Is this the day that Bhishma Dev passed away?
Oh, this is the day that Bhishma Dev passed away.
That's right.
No.
I believe, and I hope I'm not making a complete idiot of myself when I say this.
Anybody
Live, recorded.
Bhishma Dev passed.
No, that I know. That I know.
That's not the end.
Huh?
Was Bhishma Panchaka 5 days?
We went through that when we went, but definitely
Lord
people say that it's on the Sankranti because the Battle of Kurukshetra took place in December. He lived about another month. But
all right, someone.
Lord Chaitanya, I believe, took
Aditi,
sannyas.
get on that, please.
I believe Lord Chaitanya took sannyas.
Aditi, you're on it? Okay, good.
Oh, Aditi. There we go.
Aditi.
Okay.
Oh, this is the day the churning the milk ocean. What? We just read that.
Whoa.
All right, get on that, Aditi. I want you posting that, please. Aditi's our foreign correspondent.
Mother Yashoda.
What?
Yes, Mother.
More? Damodar Priya.
Yeah.
Never give credit to other people. Always take the credit for yourself, Damodar Priya. When will
Haven't
you learn?
Haven't you learned anything from Raghu?
Thereafter, in the 17th incarnation of Godhead, Srila Vyasadeva appeared in the womb of Satyavati through Parashara Muni. Muni means like a great thinker, great sage. It's got nothing to do with Reverend Sung Young Moon.
Absolutely nothing.
And he divided one Veda into several branches and sub-branches, seeing that people in general are becoming less intelligent. What happens when people become less intelligent? You got to write stuff down.
They forget things.
Right?
Yeah.
You ever have a waiter and you're telling him all these things at a restaurant? He's just going, yep. And finally you feel like, buddy, you better write this down. And sometimes I say, no, I got it. Right?
Yeah.
If you're very intelligent, you remember. And Vyasadeva understood as Kali Yuga, as we enter into Kali Yuga, intelligence will be lost. We tend to think that reading books is a sign of intelligence. No, it's a sign of we lost our intelligence. That's why when you study mantras, I can tell with my kids, we're on the show right now. When we study mantras, I'm like, check my style out. I'm driving and reading shlokas to them to learn shlokas.
Is that legal?
It's illegal,
No.
I think. It's illegal, but I'm narking on myself here. And we're practicing the Sanskrit, and we're going back and forth learning the mantras, but they're not reading it. They're just hearing it, but they retain it. Because once you start to read it, they say, it's almost like using a calculator. It doesn't make you smarter. It means you don't know your math as well.
Like GPS. People used to know how to read a map, how to remember how to get to places.
Where north was.
Yeah.
I don't even know where north is. I'm just saying, go left, go right, go left, go right. The GPS may be a bigger
Making
fool.
us idiots.
Make a bigger fool. So yeah, so all these things. So they said that reading. Matter of fact, there is still. I've heard of this in India. I've read this in that book, 9 Lives. There's tribes or groups of wandering.
Oh, here we go.
True story. People in India they'd come into the villages. I think it still happens. Come into the villages and they recite epics.
Yeah.
But not just telling stories like I tell a story of Trivikram or Narayan. They're actually doing the shlokas.
Wow.
Like they've memorized it, and they're all illiterates. Because they say once you start to learn to read, it does something with the intelligence. It weakens the intelligence.
So the not reading has improved their memory.
The not reading has improved their memory somehow. Probably in the same way, if you wear a blindfold, you start to develop intuition with your other senses even more. Your sense of smell becomes strong, right? What do you think about that?
It makes sense to me. And it reminds me, do you know this devotee named Sankirtan Das from New Vrindavan?
I know Sankirtan, but no.
Is that the same person?
No, it's different.
He recites, he's like an actor, but he also recites like just one man monologue Mahabharata stories or Ramayana.
Oh yeah, I heard of him.
Have you ever witnessed him?
No, but he did a version of the Mahabharata.
Yeah. It's so powerful that one person stands in front of an audience and from memory just starts to act it out. It's really, it's a shame. It's kind of a lost art, but I think we ought to do whatever we can to revive that. It's beautiful.
Modern culture is losing all these beautiful arts. And that's why I love our evening programs here, because what do you do in the evening? You kick back, you put on a video, and it just like cheats us a little bit. It's like what they do in the Waldorf schools. In the Waldorf schools, they say that you got to get your kid to being bored. Once they're bored,
then the creativity
activates their. They got to be complaining. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to do. There's nothing to do. And finally, saying, "Well, figure it out." What we do is we keep on throwing things in front of them. We try to entertain them. We put an entertainment box in front of them. Let them get bored, and then all of a sudden, this thing becomes incredibly fun. Look what I can do. It's a spaceship. It's a car. It's a jumping off of this into a.
I can throw it at someone.
I can throw. Yeah, it's a weapon. It's a sword. You got to get to zero, right? And then they start to dig deep. So I feel like we've lost a little bit in that world of entertain me. I can't think right now.
And
right?
Storytelling is another way to
entertain. And that's
each
another
other.
thing is storytelling. And that's why they don't read in the Waldorf school as well. They hold off on reading, and they let that imagination go. And Rudolf Steiner was really interested in the whole Vedic thought as well. He had the very Interesting. But they tell the stories because why? Because once I show pictures in the story or see of it, then there's already an idea of what it looks like. This is what he looks like right here.
Mhm.
But once I just tell the story about the ogre and describe it, then it, right? Interesting, isn't it?
You are a wealth of all kinds of knowledge and insight.
Well, trivia.
That's not trivia.
It's little pieces of trivial things.
That's what's not trivial.
Yeah, and I got no PhD in nothing, but
you got your PhD in the yogic wisdom, Raghu. Thank you.
anyway. How's our time, RG? 2 minutes. Let's get something out of here. In the 18th incarnation, the Lord appeared as Sri Ramachandra Bhagavan Ki.
Jay.
In order to perform some pleasing work for the demigods, he exhibited superhuman powers by controlling the Indian Ocean and then killing King, Ravan, who was on the other side of the sea in Sri Lanka.
Lanka.
Have you ever heard that South America was Lanka? Brazil? Just Brazil? Like not the other, Uruguay was not Lanka, just Brazil was? The Discovery Channel said that? What? Anyway, that's the theory out there that Sri Lanka is actually
South America.
South America.
I got nothing to say.
We don't know.
I got nothing to say.
We don't know. There's just rumors, Vedic rumors.
Yep.
Uh-oh. Bhagavatam purport, it says. Thanks, everybody, joining us on our podcast. That's it. You get an hour a day. That's all you need. What? But we appreciate you. Check it out. If you got any questions, you can write Tamara at wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com. Thanks for joining us. And Zoomers, start clapping. I don't want to see anybody laying down. It's clap time.